Today there was a large celebration. Celebration is a poor word to use for homelessness, but there was a large citywide program celebration down at Presbyterian Night Shelter. The Mayor's Advisory Committee on Homelessness has done a considerable amount to address the homeless issue in Fort Worth. What would you do, Mr. Lane, to continue on to improve the plight of the homeless within the city of Fort Worth?
The homeless issue is something that Vietnam veterans know a lot about. It's a real problem for Vietnam veterans. When I was on the council, we studied a lot of issues, and we began on homelessness, and we began some of the programs. And all I can say is that I think that is an issue that shows you what the moral standard is in a community. And I would go forward with the programs that are in place and make sure that they are funded and that they're not affected by the budget cuts that I assume will come. I think we have to address that issue, and I think it's a moral responsibility for us to do that.
When the city tackled this issue a few years ago, and fortunately it was abysmally behind. HUD and the other federal government agencies had contacted the city. We were the only major city in the United States that wasn't addressing chronic homelessness. Now, quite frankly speaking, unfortunately, there probably will never be a way to completely eradicate homelessness, but we can certainly take steps forward. The Directions Home program is the program that the city has initiated. It is focused on providing housing, which is part of our city responsibility, and also partnering with nonprofits and other agencies to provide social services. They've enjoyed a wonderful success, especially with regard to war veterans. So I would think that it's essential and important that we continue this program and that we work on eradicating chronic homelessness.
The Directions Home program is one of the examples of something that has gone right in the city of Fort Worth. I mean, it has been very effective so far in reducing the level of homelessness in the city. Unfortunately, funding for it has been cut over the last fiscal year. I believe that we need to, it wasn't cut completely, it was simply reduced. But even with the reduced budgets, the people in that program are doing a wonderful job, and I believe that we need to adjust our spending priorities to reflect our essential humanity so that we can treat those who are among the least of us the way they need to be treated and reflect the character of our city and restore full funding to the Directions Home program.
Fort Worth is a very compassionate, very caring city. We have worked hard on our homeless initiative. The Directions Home program has had a tremendous return. The Union Gospel Mission, the Salvation Army, the Presbyterian Night Shelter. We must keep our focus on them. I visited both the Union Gospel Mission and the Presbyterian Night Shelter recently. In fact, my children and I and husband have made sandwiches out there and served. It's a tremendous faith-based program. But it breaks your heart to see women and children, and the growing number is women and children, and they have special needs that we must have a focus on settling. Fort Worth cares, and we must continue to focus on that. There are cities around us working on wonderful homeless programs. We need to open a strong dialogue with them, partner with our faith-based developments, partner with the strong. We're blessed in Fort Worth with many philanthropic individuals. We need to encourage them to help us with this program because we do care. We don't want additional people on the street, and those who are there, we need to help them get into a home.
Yeah. This is an example where it shows where your priorities are, and when we have invested as much as we have in a program like Directions Home, it does show that Fort Worth does have its priorities, at least most of the time, in some sort of order. I would just say that in addition to making certain that the funding is continued for that as well as it can be, that we do reach out to nonprofit and charitable organizations like Union Gospel and Salvation Army to make certain that people are aware of this problem. They know it's out there, but the severity of it and the problem as a systemic problem in Fort Worth, it has to be understood at a level that understands when people like that are affected in the city, it affects the whole city. So we have to make certain that people are aware of it. We can't sweep it under the rug. We have to shine a light on it. It's not pretty, but people need to be made aware that Fort Worth is on it, it is a priority, and that we do care about the homelessness in the city.